Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure how many people are joining me, but it is such an honor to have this opportunity to speak with you. My name is Dr. Atiya Jones, and I am a metaphysician. And today, I don't want this to be a one sided situation. I want this to be a dialogue and a conversation. And if you're joining me, please go ahead and go in the chat section and talk to me. But this evening, I want to talk about soul fidelity, and that is answering your soul's calling. A lot of times, there are people out there who feel that they're stuck. They're not doing what they want to be doing in their life. They may be clocking a 9 to 5. They may not even be working, but they may be stuck in their life and wondering what to do, what their life purpose is. But I don't want to just talk to you about your life purpose. I want to talk to you about your soul's calling. That is your true purpose. And I want to do it through soul fidelity. Now, I did get a message from Kenny. Kenny, if you're listening, thank you for joining me. I got your message, and I'm glad you have decided to join us. It's an honor that you're joining me. Um, I do want you to talk back to me. I'm not one of those people who want to just sit and chat for 30 minutes. I want this to be an interchange because I'm here to serve you. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to inspire you. If you have a creative project that you're working on, ask me questions about it. If you just need a little insight into a situation, I'm here for that. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about answering your soul's calling. And if you're listening to me, you can always email me. I'm going to give my email address, my website throughout this. I'm also going to talk about my book, The Beauty of Being Free, because that's what this is about as well, is freeing yourself in this lifetime and living the most fullest life that you can possibly live. My email address is Dr. Atiya at dratiyajones.com, and it's DRATIYA. Now, being faithful to your soul's calling, your soul had an intended plan when you were born into this dispensation of time and space. And oftentimes, when we're born, we're shaped into this being that maybe our parents or others visualize for us. And along the way, oftentimes, I had someone check out. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. And as soon as I see your names come up, I'll welcome you. But thank you so much for joining us. There's new people coming in all the time. But going back to when you're born into this dispensation of space and time, a lot of times you're born into parents, into a family, and your parents do the best that they can, and they help to shape you according to what their vision is for your life starting out. And then as time goes on, what happens is parents tend to observe and see what you lean towards, and then help you to cultivate those things in your life. But I want to talk to you as you are now. And I want you to close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to take a couple of deep breaths. And then I want you to think back in a time in your life when you were very happy, when you felt that you were at your prime, and when you were doing those things that you truly love to do. Close your eyes anyway. And I want you to think about what it is that you really love to do and you enjoy doing. And I want you to hold that thought for a moment, because somewhere in that space is your soul's truth. And that's what I want to touch. I want to prick the consciousness of that particular part of you, going deep within yourself to pull out that which is that space that you hide from people. There are signposts all around us. You can go ahead and open your eyes now, but I want you to remember that thought. There are signposts in the universe. There are things, some people call it serendipity, some people call it coincidences, Some people call it synchronicities. That's the space I want you to move into, because that's the space that the universe works to bring you to your truth. Sometimes the world can be so chaotic. Sometimes things can be moving so quickly that you miss the very simple things in life that will bring you closer to who you truly are and where you are to be. This is about getting in alignment with where you are supposed to be, and not necessarily where others think you should be or feel that that's your strength. Now, all of us, every last one of us who were born, was born with an intended path. And a lot of times people say that, oh, well, they didn't ask to be born, but actually, your soul committed to doing something, and you were born into this dispensation of time to do something. You made an agreement, you had a soul contract for when you were born. And there was something that you said you would do when you came from eternity into this space. That's what I want you to remember. And that's what soul fidelity is all about. It's about remembering the agreement that you made, remembering what you're supposed to be here doing. A lot of times when you have blocks in your life, maybe you're not making the kind of money that you want to make. Maybe you just hate your job. Maybe your family is not what you think it should be all chalked up to be, or you're not getting the support that you feel you should have. Maybe you're just not happy. Maybe you don't have joy in your life. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're depressed. Or maybe you're just in a space that you love your life. It's not always about being down. Maybe you're experiencing blocks. That's what I want to talk to you today about, is removing those blocks, is living your best life right now. Not the life that someone else wants you to live, but living your best life and going back to that space and time and remembering what it is you were born to do. When you get in alignment with your soul's truth, you'll experience more synchronicities. You will experience the universe opening up in magnificent ways. You have all of these entities around you. There's angels all around you. There are animal spirits all around you. There is nature all around you. And everything speaks to you. Everything speaks to your truth. But you have to slow down. You have to be still and listen. I want to briefly touch on ancestral wounds. For me, my ancestral wound that I have to work on and heal is releasing the shame. And I've spoken with others who have theirs, but I want to talk about mine for a moment, and hopefully it will give you courage to talk about yours. But mine is releasing the shame. So somewhere down in my line of ancestors, there was a wound that had to deal with shame. And so I often deal with embarrassment over little things that some people are not embarrassed about. I'm worried about things that some people aren't necessarily worried about, or presenting my best self. But today I want to just be myself and release the shame and talk to you, make a real human connection with you. And I really want you to talk back. If you have questions, ask the questions. I'll be more than happy to answer any question that you may have. And no conversation is off limits. And I'm more than happy to talk about it in a therapeutic way. But each of us has an ancestral wound that we have to deal with. And in addition to the things that we have to deal with, I call it the following your North Star. And that's what Soul Fidelity is. Soul Fidelity is also an assessment tool that I use to help you realize your soul's truth. And basically, what I do is take information that you give me, and then the assessment tools allow me to look at the scientific, the mathematical, and the historical data to give you information that you can work on that will move you away from your comfort zone. And believe me when I say that you'll move away from your comfort zone, but it'll move you from your comfort zone and it'll move you into a space to deal with those things or that part of yourself that you tend to run away from. But that's the very part that is important to develop so that you can remove the blocks. And that's what Soul Fidelity is about. So if you're out there and you're wondering why you're having blocks in your life, move away from your comfort zone. And a lot of times you get little signals from the universe with what I call signposts that will give you clues on your truth. Sometimes you might have worries that you haven't dealt with. But if you get quiet and you think about those things and why you're worrying about certain things or why you have certain questions, the answer is within inside of you. I don't think the chat is up. I'm gonna try to get the chat up so that I can see. I might need help with this. If I can call the technical person to help me with the chat. Hopefully they can come through here. So if I can call the tech person to help me with this chat, because I don't quite know what to do with it. So I can respond to, okay. Should it be right there? Excuse me, you all be patient. This is the first night, but I really want to make sure that I'm talking back with you. And I want to make sure that I'm actually hitting on some of the things that need to be hit on. Okay. Okay, so Kenny, if you're out there, I have given Ingram some soul searching. We're both actually on a soul journey. And being on this soul journey has really been very, very challenging. And it's been challenging because we both have had to move outside of our comfort zone. And it's tough. And I'm not going to tell you that going on a soul journey is going to be easy because it's not. I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to have to work because it takes a lot of work. And a lot of times when we're wanting to make a transition in our lives, that transition doesn't always come easy. But I guarantee you that it'll be worth every moment. And learning to step outside of your past and learning to not worry about the future, but learning to live moment by moment is something that the journey calls for. It calls for you being mindful of every single thing. Like when I take a walk, and I just kind of want to share something with you. The universe is my space. I work, and the universe is very vast. It's the space, and every single thing has meaning. And sometimes things can get very overwhelming when you get like a rush of messages. But if you just take a little time out of your day just to listen to the conversations around you, not from people, but from nature, because that's where you find your answers. When you can go off to yourself sometimes, get quiet, listen to nature, pay attention to the animals, pay attention to the sunshine, the rain, pay attention to everything in nature, and all the clues are there. But the key is you have to be willing to let go of the things that's in your comfort zone. You have to be willing to let go of that which you've been familiar with, or the things that you're used to doing, and be willing to let go of the things that no longer serve you well. And when I say be willing to let go, I don't mean, oh, let go and just let go of everything. I don't mean that. I mean, first of all, let go of those things that no longer serve you well. So if you have a problem with anger, learn to control your anger. If you have a problem with worry, learn to deal with your worry. But let go of the chaotic living that life on earth sometimes tend to bring. You know, whatever issues you're faced with in your family, whatever issues you're faced with on your job, whatever issues you might be faced in your relationships with your children, with your parents. Be willing to let go of the negative vibrations and the emotions that you might be dealing with that, and work on taking on new thoughts, new positive thoughts. And one of the things that you can practice, it's a process that they do. I've heard about it, I've practiced it, but it's 4 things that you can remember. When you, first of all, you have negative thoughts that run through your mind, which we all do. Sometimes those negative thoughts come from us. Sometimes it's depending on how we're vibrating, we might snatch them from out in the atmosphere, and we may be on a certain vibration and pick up on things. And all of this is real. But one of the things you can do if you're faced with fear, if you're faced with worry, if you're faced with feeling lost and not sure, you can detach. Whatever those negative emotions or negative thoughts and feelings are, you can detach from them. And one of the practices that I encourage people to do is 3 times, which helps drives it to the subconscious, is detach, 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 meaning you're detaching from the worry, detaching from the fear, detaching from the negative thought processes. And then take this process, these 4 things. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And not only are you saying this to yourself, but anyone that thought has affected and impacted, you're also saying that to them. Because the whole idea is to begin to vibrate on the frequency of love. I haven't gone away from soul fidelity. What I'm doing is I'm wanting to bring you into a space that will help you to connect with that deeper part of yourself. So by detaching from the negativity, and I want to say this really quickly, and I'm going to come back to this. I want to say this. On my Facebook page and out on social media, a lot of times people are perpetuating negative energy, and they do that by posting out very negative news. Now, I know it's important to share information so that people know what's going on. Okay. Well, someone mentioned, I feel like a lot of the negativity in this reality is put into us through the chemicals in the food and drinks, the spraying of the sky, the many injections from birth, and so on. Kenny, that is a very, very good point, and I want to touch on that. First of all, food. Let's deal with food. Food, you're absolutely right. Food is a very, very key. And then he says also through the media, which gets everyone's mind clouded or feared. Let's go to the food, and then I want to hit on the media, and then I want to hit on spraying of the skies and the injections. First of all, food is very important. There's a saying that you are what you eat, and that is very true. And for those people who are, although I'm vegan, I don't shove veganism down anyone's throat. I think people should eat the way they feel they should eat. But I do want to touch on that for a moment. You are what you eat, meaning the vibrations of what you put into your body. Your body is your temple, and the vibrations of what you eat goes into you, and that has an impact on you. So if you're eating flesh, I call animal anything that's a living creature in that sense, an animal is, I refer to it as flesh, and I don't mean to be offensive, but it's flesh. And when you eat that flesh, you're taking those vibrations into your body of that which you have eaten. When you're eating live foods, which is like fruits and vegetables and plant-based foods, you're eating live food and not dead flesh. And so what happens is when you're eating live foods, your body comes alive. You're feeding your cells and every aspect of your body live foods that help you feel more vibrant and more alive. So definitely, Kenny, that's a very good point. If you are eating an animal that has been slaughtered and fear was put into that animal as it was about to lose its life, depending on how it was killed or slaughtered, then that fear is being brought into your system. And then the other thing that you mentioned was and yeah, definitely the chemicals and the drinks and the spraying of the skies and the many injections from birth and so on. Now, we can go on and talk about all the things that is going wrong with the earth. But when you begin to, first of all, the healing power of love and vibrating on a certain frequency will allow you to rise above anything in the atmosphere that may be detrimental to your health. Some people may disagree with that, but it's the truth as far as my understanding and as a metaphysician. When you begin to vibrate on a certain frequency, love burns anything that does not vibrate on that level. So if you continuously elevate your vibrations in the spirit of love, that'll burn away so much other stuff around you. The media. I don't watch the news. I don't read the newspaper. I know a lot of other people who practice that as well. And the reason I don't is because there's so much negativity out there on television, in the news, that I stay away from that. And I know a lot of other people because I want to be able to maintain a positive state of mind. Okay. Someone just asked me, what does soul fidelity mean? I'll answer that question. Let me finish up on Kenny's point about clouding or causing fear of the mind. Exactly. So from the food, from the negative thought vibrations, from being in certain atmosphere and so forth, what happens is it does cloud your mind, but you can start out by first dealing with yourself and start cleaning your own system up. And soul fidelity basically means answering your soul calling. Soul fidelity is being faithful to your own soul. And oftentimes, many of us are not faithful to our own soul because we're doing just the opposite of what we truly want to do. If you're not happy in your life, if you feel stuck, if you're not in a space where you really look forward to the wonderful life that is before you, or if it's just a lot of chaos in your life, then you're not being faithful to your soul's calling. And that's what soul fidelity is about. Fidelity is talking about faithfulness to your soul. And I also do an assessment tool, like I mentioned earlier, that will help one get in alignment with their soul's calling. And it's very mathematical, it's very scientific, and it's very, very precise and accurate. And what this tool will help you to do is basically give you information and data on what to focus on that will bring you closer to your destiny. So it is befittingly called soul fidelity. A lot of times people, they know what they love to do, but they haven't found a way to take what they really like to do to make it work for them in their lives. A lot of people that I've met have no idea what their purpose is. Well, this assessment tool will bring you right to exactly what your purpose is. And it is so precise and accurate. It's scientific, it's mathematical, and I process all of that data plus historical data that will give you that information. And it's an awesome tool. Someone else says the high rates of cancer going up, disability, etc., all because of this crap, due to the higher elite who wants a new world order. It's a constant battle of good versus evil. Well, it's really interesting you say that, because if you're vibrating on a certain frequency, the lower vibrations, you basically soar above the lower vibrations. And it is a constant battle. It's a constant battle. I wouldn't necessarily call it good versus evil, because you're dealing with the law of polarity. And so sometimes what is, it's like you have to have those two extremes to be able to. How would you know that hot is hot if you didn't know what cold was? Or how would you even know what good is if you didn't experience evil? So, in essence, really, you're dealing with the law of polarity. When you realize that there is truly only oneness, but it really causes you to vibrate on a certain frequency. And in order to begin to vibrate on that frequency, you have to begin to take responsibility in your own life and begin to make changes in your own life. Because when you make the changes in your life, you'll begin to see everything around you start to change. A person, thank you, Alicia, who says she needs this. I'm thank you for saying that, because I'm not sure right now how much I'm really hitting home with those who are listening. And everything seems to be so chaotic. But once you slow down and you get off of that wheel, how this earth, the people in the world are vibrating, and you just step off of that wheel and you begin to, as some people say, slow your roll. You begin to just slow down, get still. You'll begin to hear your body speak to you. You'll begin to hear everything around you speak to you. But it's a matter of slowing down. And then you'll be able to activate that soul, put that soul contract in action. You had a contract when you were born into the world. And I know some people think that I didn't choose to be born, but you did. You chose to come at this time and in this space. And when you came into this space and time, you agreed to do something. Your soul has an intended path. And that's what I want to help you go back to. Because when you get in alignment with your soul's calling, everything in your life will begin to flow a certain way. And those who've worked with me, those who have experienced it, know exactly what I'm talking about. Is it a struggle? Yes, because in essence, it'll feel, especially in the beginning, like you're moving against the grain of things, like you're moving against the flow of things. Let's see, we have another comment. How do I know I'm in my soul purpose instead of the purpose of what the world says we should be doing? Peer pressure, family demands, culture, community. That's a very, very, very good question. Just stop. If you stop everything, just stop for a moment. Even if it's for 30 minutes, even if it's for an hour, just stop. Just stop. Get to a space, turn off all of your electronics, what is called dirty energy. Just stop, get in nature, get quiet, and just pause. Your soul will speak to you. Nature will speak to you. The universe will speak to you. And if you observe non-judgmentally, you will hear. You will hear every single thing. I was a teacher. Let's see, Alicia says, I was a teacher for special needs and behavior and worked in theater, hotel, and construction. I just lost 30-year relationship and the world is spinning. So I need to. Alicia, I want to give you my email address. My email address, again, for those who would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, is Dr. Atiya at dratiyajones.com. And that's DRATIYA at dratiyajones.com. And I welcome you to email me. You can leave your telephone number as well. I would love to speak with you and work with you one-on-one to help you get through certain things in your life that you're dealing with. I help to make soul-to-soul connections. And the soul-to-soul connection is not just necessarily outside of yourself, but inside of yourself first. Because once you make that soul connection and you begin to operate in alignment of your soul contract, what happens is you'll begin to call people and things in your life that's in alignment with your destiny, your soul's calling. How do I shut off those negative comments and thoughts of others? You have to shut off your own negative self chatter. And sometimes those negative self chatters come from I mentioned earlier about those ancestral wounds, and you have to heal it. And one of the things to start healing it is, Kenny mentioned it earlier, start with your diet. Start eating more things that are alive. And when you start with your diet, that will begin to, I want to go back, start with your diet. And if you're listening and you want to jumpstart yourself on a path, get some Himalayan salt, Epsom salt, you can mix the two. And what you do is for 3 days in a row, take a salt bath. Soak in that salt bath for like 20 minutes. Get quiet. Spend about 20 minutes in that salt bath. If you're able to do that, either in Himalayan salt and Epsom salt mixed together, and just be still and be quiet. And then after you do that, make it a point to drink lemon water as the first thing you have in the morning, and begin to flush your system and detox your system. And then after you do that, one of the practices you do once you get out is called the breath of life. And if you email me, I will email you back the process of doing the breath of life. But breathing also helps to release some of those toxins and also those negative thought processes and energy. And basically what you do is take a deep breath in through your nose and then exhale through your nose. And you can practice that and breathe in 4 times each in 4 sets of that, deeply and so slowly. And so you start out by doing those 3 things, and you'll notice a big change in your body energy. It will begin to start to put your body in a state of being where you're able to now start receiving some of the messages that's come from the universe and comes from internally. A lot of times we have so much on us that we're not hearing even our own higher self speaking to us. So you have to get into a space where you get quiet. You have to begin to detox your system and begin to put things in it that's alive. Let's see. Breathing in chemtrails on a daily basis is making it harder to wake up out of the matrix. We can't control what they poison us with through the air. We can't control diet, but we can't control the sky. Actually, Kenny, I disagree with you on that. Like I mentioned earlier, when you begin to vibrate on a certain frequency, those things don't impact you. Some people may disagree, but when you begin to vibrate on a certain frequency, certain things don't touch you. And if you don't believe me, start making the change today. Email me at Dr. Atiya at dratiajones.com, and I'll walk you through that process. 4G, 5G, it's all too much. People's brains are being fried. Even with Wi-Fi through the internet messes up the vibration of the energy. That's true. I call it dirty energy. And that's why it's so important to step away. And that's why I say go into nature. Because when you get away from the dirty energy, the cell phones, you get away from the laptops, the computers, and all of that, all the plug-in electricity. When you get away from that and get into nature, it takes you away from dirty energy. But one of the things that you can do if you're listening, and you do work around a lot of dirty energy, you can get different crystals, healing stones that will help to transmute that negative or that dirty energy and send it back out as positive energy. And one of those stones is called the black tourmaline. So if you get a black tourmaline, and there are other ones, but black tourmaline is a really good all-round one, and that will help to absorb a lot of the dirty energy and then transmute it and send it back out in the atmosphere as positive energy. So there are things that you can do to help balance out, but it doesn't matter what, as you all say, the powers that be do. At the end of the day, your higher self has so much power. And when you vibrate on the frequency of love and you continuously elevate your vibrations, none of the things that vibrate on a lower frequency even affects you. And a lot of times, if you're living in this, if you're listening right now and you're listening to this message, all you have to do is begin to make the changes in your own life and begin to change the atmosphere around you. And I'll take it to a simplistic form, each one touch one. So basically, all you have to do, and I'm going to see you again tonight and again the next night, and we'll get more into this. I do thank you for listening, taking the time, but basically just do those three things that I mentioned starting out. Is taking the salt bath, begin to minimize your meat intake or your flesh intake and eating more live foods and getting out in nature and doing the breathing. And that will make, tomorrow I will speak more on the 7 chakras. There's actually more chakras than 7, but we'll talk about the 7 major energy centers in the human body. And I will talk about that tomorrow, because that's a very good thing to talk about, because as you're working to get your body in alignment and turn to your and get in alignment with your soul's calling, the best way to begin to do that is to help get your body in alignment. So we'll talk about the energy centers tomorrow in the human body, starting out with the 7 chakras. So I want to thank you for joining me. I hope what I said made sense. This is a conversation. I don't want to just sit and just chat and just talk. I want you to talk to me. I want to know that I'm helping you. That's what I'm here. I'm here to serve. I want to make a real human connection. I want to really help you in any way I can. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. And even if you didn't say anything, thank you for showing up. And we will see you again tomorrow night. God bless. Have a good evening. Thank you.